birthday to you.
I want to thank everybody for coming. Obviously, this is this is one of these occasions that I felt that, well, let's put it this way. Anybody that wants to have a surprise party, I have one suggestion: don't. I've had more stress doing this than I ever did building a company, getting married, or anything. We started this in Key West. The idea came up around mid-January. I thought, it's a cool thing. This is a person, Cassie, who, there's people in this world that need to be acknowledged once in a while. They don't look for it. So we figured, all right, let's do this. And then we think, well, you know what? We get older now, and it's interesting tonight. This is the first time in a long while I've had a party, and there were like a half a dozen people that were physically unable. They were not up to, health-wise. And that is a reality that I never dealt with before, having parties. Usually we have more than we needed. And now, but anyway, so this whole thing started in Key West, and then we figured out how many people. We'll get 60 people. Okay, so 5 months and 60 people. I'm not a paranoid person, but I'll tell you, my paranoia was justified. I'm just going to give you one example. Now, starting here, I told everybody this is a surprise. I learned how to delete emails and texts. I am now to the point where I was deleting text messages before I was finished reading them. So I don't even think I exist anymore. I mean, but anyway, the other day, I get an email from this place, confirming the number of people. So the paranoia, so I came over here in a hurry. They would have preferred to have taken that day off. It wasn't the first, but that was the last time. So we're here. I've never really, despite the fact that I have a history of drinking, today was, when I walked through the door, was the first time I actually needed a drink. But having said all this, it's time, in life, as you get older, people become more important, whether it be family or friends or neighbors or whatever. And this is really an excuse really to bring together people that have become the fabric of our lives one way or another. Some people we've known, some people that, Kathy, one person in here, one of Patty's neighbor, wife, met for the first time, and other people, Kathy's sister and all, had been with her whole life. So this is an eclectic group. However, there is one segment of people at this little party here that I guess probably gives an indication of where Kathy and I spend a lot of time. Just for the hell of it, would everybody who's a bartender raise their hand? I'm just curious. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we have about. Now I'll stop here. I'll stop here. I mean, by the way, speaking of eclectic, this gentleman here that's walking in. This is like a soup to nuts party. Tommy O'Leary is an undertaker. And he's probably one of the fun people I know. But on a serious note, this is really about impact. Kathy is a person, we all know her strong points. She has brought her A game to every role that she's had in life, whether it be a sibling, a daughter, a mother, a business partner, an employee, a friend. She only has one game, an A game. And the people that have been touched by her It's a much more, I'm not going to dwell on that because it embarrasses her. But what I am going to mention is a trait that I really myself never knew existed until one day a long time ago. And that is, Kathy has the ability to impact people with her presence. That is the only other person I've known that could do that was my father. Now, I don't know how to describe that, so I'm going to give you an example of what I mean. When I was 17, I was on a basketball team in Philadelphia, and we had a championship game at a place called Memorial Hall in Fairmount Park in West Philadelphia. And at that time, I was living in the suburbs, and most of my teammates were black boys from the city. So that night, and people that are familiar with basketball games, after they have the layup drill, they have a buzzer goes off, and that means that everybody's got to clear the floor and get ready to start the game. Anyway, my dad came to all the games, but that night he was late because it was like sleeting outside. The place was packed, but he had his little spot he always sat in without any fanfare. So anyway, this buzzer goes off, Pop's not there, so we had a center, 6'8", 225-pound black boy from the hood in North Philly, Stanley Singletary. And he went over to the ref and said, we can't start until Mr. Mack's here. And you know, I'm 17 and I'm absorbed in my own world, and right about that moment, I came by and got sat down, and I went up to Stanley. I said, "What was that about?" So Mr. Mack is the first person in my life that I can count on to show up for me. No, I didn't quite understand that. So after the game on the way home that night, I said, "Dad, have you and Stanley, do you have any interactions?" He said, "No, never talked to him." He said, "But I just love his intensity for the game." And I thought about that, and the longer I thought about it, I realized that here's a person. That's what I mean by the presence. My father was there. The place was packed. And to this person, he was a constant. And I think if everybody reflects on their lives, I'm lucky because I've never had a day on this earth where I didn't have one of those two people, whether it was my father or my wife. And for a few years, they crossed paths and bonded. My dad, when he first met her, he said, she's the best thing ever happened to you. And here we are 30 years later, and I think he was right. Well, he was right. Anyway, anyway, I think that if you're lucky enough to have somebody like that, who just by their existence makes a difference. It's so subtle. It's like air. You can't touch it or feel it or smell it. The only time you recognize air is when you don't have enough of it. That's the only time. I'm just going to tell two. First of all, I want to wish Martin, which is Kathy's brother here, happy birthday. Today actually is his birthday. By the way, part of the whole thing is to throw her off and to keep her not guessing, is to have a birthday party, not even in the month of her birthday. So, Martin and I have a little bonding. The first time we met, I actually met Kathy's mother. We were at Frank over here, our neighbor, was a bartender at the Mendenhall Inn. People in this area know where that is. So the first night I was set to meet Kathy's mother, Martin came and one or two others. We're sitting around this restaurant. There was a violin player going around. And Martin and I got into a spirited exchange. And this is the coolest, most succinct sentence I've ever heard from a human being in my life. We're starting to go at it. And Kathy's mother looked over to him and said, "Wait till he pays." I loved her from that moment on. And one last story, and then we're going to start with the dinner, and that is Kathy and I, our first date. When I first met Kathy, I asked her out, decided we're going to go down to the shore, to a place used to call Betty Hutton. It was called the Sandcastle on the Black Horse Pike. It was Betty Hutton, an old actress. Her home was converted to a restaurant. Anyway, I'm down there with a friend of mine during a week of Memorial Day weekend. And so I'm asking him, I said, I got this really, really hot chick I'm going to take out Saturday night. I said, well, where should I take her? Well, we're having lunch at this Sandcastle. So he said, well, this place is cool. It's right on the bay. So this is a long time ago. So I go up to the maitre d'. I said, are you going to be here Saturday night and Memorial Day? Yeah, I'm going to be here. He said, listen, I gave him $20. Back then, big deal. I gave him $20. Listen, I want a table by the window overlooking. This is important. No problem, sir. Okay. So I'm now feeling like this. I am going to be impressive. I've never in my life set out to impress somebody. I did that night. So anyway, we get in there, and first thing, I'm just packed. I'm looking around to see this guy's face because I want to have a connection. He's there. So I go up to him, I say, hey, you remember? Oh, yeah, Mr. McGonigal, no problem. So, okay, so we go. We order. That time we were drinking Stingers. So her and I had our first Stinger. So a few minutes later, a girl comes up with the menu. Said, Mr. McGonigal, yeah, come follow us. So we follow. So we're going up the stairs. I thought, man, this is even better. I got a view from upstairs. We get to the top, and there's a table. First of all, this is a converted home. So there's a table right at the top of the stairs by the wall. So he sets the menus down. The woman sets the menus down, so we sit down. Now, I am beside myself. Not only is there no window, but everybody didn't go to the kitchen or the bathroom or the parking lot, goes by this table. Yeah. So I am now fired up, but I'm one of these people. I like to think I'm smart enough to take a bad situation and make it good. So I think, you know what? This is a chance for me to impress her. So I decided, hey, I want another table. So I figured, now I'm good. So now on this table we had both of our drinks, and we had a little vase of a single flower and an ashtray. So about 5 minutes later, this guy comes up and said, Mr. McDonald, yeah, can you get your drink? And he said, so I left. He said, take the other, the ashtray. The ashtray. I figured, we're going to go to where I paid $20 to get a view. He takes the table, leaving Kathy and I sitting there, pretending there was a table between us. I'm holding an ashtray and my drink. She's holding the vase and a drink. And I realized there's nothing I could possibly do now to be cool. All I wanted to do was get something, a table, anything. What seemed like an hour was probably 2 minutes. Anyway, I was never so happy for the seating that I had once they brought the table back. So that was our first date. Now tonight we're gonna have, I think there's filet and crab, and if somebody wants, some people that don't eat shellfish or whatever they do, they have some flexibility in the what do you call it, in the menu, and then later on we're gonna, we also have a video. By the way, this would never have happened without my daughter Patty. Never. And we have a video of thanks to Kathy Boy Bryan, of people that couldn't make it, and some strange things. So anyway, thank you again for coming, and we're going to have a party tonight. This guy here, Rob, is one of the best musicians, singers in this area. Anybody that's familiar with him? Anyway, all right, my boy, here you go.